They do. What they do. Let me make sure we good. Let me make sure that sound good. Let me make sure we popping on the right frequency. You know how this go. Y'all know the drill. We gotta make sure we good first before we start. Shit, I would be the type of motherfucker that be talking on mute. Make sure we good. All right, sounds popping off. What they do? What they do? It's your boy KD in the motherfucking building, man. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let the peoples out there know we talk boxing. Y'all know how it is. You heard? But we in the motherfucking building. Hold on, let me make sure. Hold on. We still working. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Here we go. There we go. We in the motherfucking building, man. Oh shit. Oh. All right. Terry Smoot in the building. What's good with you, Terry Smoot? Yes, sir. I see the eyes. What's good with you, Terry? We're in the building, man. We chopping up some good boxing today, man. Shout out to everybody out there, man. All the real boxing fans out there, man. Shout out to the real boxing fans. Shout out to everybody that rep their city. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Miami-Dade County, Florida. Y'all know what it is. Rep the crib. You know what I mean? Anybody else? Shout out to the second home, ATL, Georgia, in the house. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody, man. The real boxing fans out there, man. We're gonna talk some real boxing today, man. We're gonna talk some real boxing today, man. Y'all see what the title is? Y'all see what the title is, man. Is Gervonta Tank Davis a pay-per-view star? You know what I mean? So for those of you who aren't aware, the pay-per-view numbers for Gervonta Davis versus Mario Barrios came out. I believe it came out last night. And the numbers are in. It said that Davis versus Barrios did 200,000 pay-per-view buys. 200,000. Actually, I looked at one that said like 210, 215, but 200 is pretty much the number, man. We rounded and we rounded. It's 5 or more letters soar. Everything under that, man, we're dropping it down to the regular number. It's 200,000, right? 200,000 pay-per-view buys is what we got for Tank versus Barrios. You know what I'm saying? My thoughts on this, man, is, I have a lot of different thoughts about this, man. Um, this is just another symptom of this whole PBC thing. You know what I'm saying? Um, the fact of the matter is, man, the PBC, the machine that pumps out the fighters from the PBC, they advertise their fighters to be much bigger than what they actually are. You know what I'm saying? If you, and I guess that's a part of their job as a promoter to emphasize the star power and all that good stuff about their fighters, but it's just way, 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 way oversold, man. And then to have that, and then to come back with 200,000 pay-per-view buys, man, that's a 50,000 more pay-per-view buys than Terrence Crawford. What everybody else said, Terrence Crawford didn't do no type of numbers, and Terrence Crawford is this and Terrence Crawford is that. He did 50,000 more buys than Terrence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? A dude that, according to a lot of people, has no fan base. But if you let a lot of the PBC dudes, if you let a lot of these other dudes tell the story, man, is Tank Davis is a huge star. Tank Davis is this mega star, and he's producing all these numbers, and he's doing that, and he's doing that, and he's the savior. He died on the cross force and that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? But the numbers really don't emphasize that, man. The numbers don't tell that story. It is what it is, and honestly, man, I'm not overly critical of the numbers per se, because I think overall Tank Davis is just one of those dudes who he don't really say too much. He's not one of them dudes that's out here bragging, and I don't hear Tank Davis telling anybody it's 60-40 or 70-30 or whatever I give him. I don't hear none of that stuff coming out of Tank Davis' mouth. So I can't be overly critical of the low numbers per se. I think there's a large percentage of the boxing fans who want to see Tank fight certain fighters, and and I'm definitely one of those guys who wants to see Tank fight certain fighters. It is what it is, but but even with that being said, he's not one of those braggadocious dudes who's running around calling himself the big fish, calling himself pound for pound number one, he's kind of staying in his own lane, man. And honestly, man, I wouldn't have as much smoke for a lot of these dudes if they stayed in their own lane and shut the fuck up and stop promoting themselves like they the big stars that they claim that they are, you know. Um, but 200,000 pay-per-view buys, man. I mean, just looking at that those are not great numbers, man. And we go back to Bob Arum and what Bob Arum was saying about Terrence Crawford, how he would say Terrence Crawford's not a big pay-per-view star. Well, Bob Arum's telling the truth. And if you ask Bob Arum about Tank Davis, or you ask Bob Arum about Earl Spence or any of these other PBC fighters, he would say the same thing about them. And that's really what it comes down to. These dudes are not pay-per-view stars. It's all cap, man. It's all cap. Dudes are old. Dudes are they just flat out lying. Really, is really what it come down to. And I get it to a certain degree, because it's like you want to portray your fighter to be a big star. Like, you want that, because usually, when you portray that image, usually it attracts that. You know what I'm saying? You put out what you want to attract. But at what point does that just become lying, bro? You know what I'm saying? At what point does that become lying? You know what I'm saying? Terry Smooth says, but it's 200K during the pandemic plus sold out arena. I mean, I'm not overly critical on Tank like that. I'm not overly critical on Tank. I think 200,000 pay-per-view buys is it's okay. It's fine. It's for a person who's starting out on pay-per-view. It's for somebody who's, they coming up, in the world is really what it is. Yeah, sold out arena. That's great. You know what I'm saying? That's good. But again, like, the Tank ain't no pay-per-view star. That's not pay-per-view star numbers. We got to put things, there's levels to these things, man. There's levels. That's why it's so damaging when you have dudes like Earl Spence, and Jamal Charlo and Jermell Charlo, how they come out they face talking like they big stars and stuff. Big fish, 60-30, 60-40, 70-30, whatever I give them. Like, you haven't earned the right to talk like that when you're doing 200,000 pay-per-view buys. And honestly, man, if Earl Spence, and here's the other part of this, right? If Earl Spence was to fight somebody with the amount of recognition of a Mario Barrios, meaning somebody that no one, genuinely no one's heard of. And this is not to take anything away from Mario Barrios as a fighter, because I think that Mario Barrios is a solid fighter. I knew this would be a tough fight for the most part for Tank. And I give him credit for the victory, but this is a guy that nobody's ever heard of. So if Earl Spence was to jump in the dude with a guy no one's ever heard of, I'm pretty sure we would get a very comparable pay-per-view sale. We would get 200,000 pay-per-view buys. You know what I'm saying? We would get 180,000 pay-per-view buys. We would get something, a number low like that. We're not getting those type of numbers. We're not getting 350. If Earl Spence is fighting somebody like a Mario Barrios on pay-per-view. Actually, I feel like Tank would do better numbers. If Tank was to get in the ring with somebody like a Devin Haney, or somebody that somebody has ever heard of, you know what I'm saying? I think Tank would do about 400,000 pay-per-view buys. He would double that, because he literally carried this pay-per-view on his own. Something that Earl Spence has yet to do. We haven't seen him in a pay-per-view situation on his own. You know what I'm saying? Having to carry the whole event. So far, we've only seen Earl Spence in pay-per-views with guys who already have names and already established. Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia. You know what I'm saying? What's the other dude? I'm forgetting Sean Porter. Sean Porter ass. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. My guy G Parker in the building. What's going on with you, G Parker? G Parker say, Boxer die, we in the building. What's good, fam? What's good with you? Houston, Texas in the building. Come through now, G Parker. Come through. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? We over here talking about Tank. Tank Davis, is he a pay-per-view star? You know, but when we ask that question, man, is he a pay-per-view star? I mean, the survey says no, he's not a pay-per-view star. He's just not. He's just not a pay-per-view star, man. You know, he's just not, bro. Like, and dudes want to make up all kind of excuses about pandemics and about and just what Terry Smoot said. Pandemics and nobody's buying pay-per-views like that, and dudes ain't doing this like that no more. And it's 2021, everybody can stream. Okay, but when you look at UFC, when you look at Wilder Fury 2, when you look at Wilder Fury 1, when you look at Wilder Fury 2, when you look at Wilder Fury 3, that's gonna happen. I guarantee that does over 1 million pay-per-view buys. When you look at Jake Paul doing over 1 million pay-per-view buys, when you look at Mike Tyson doing over 1 million pay-per-view buys, man, that right there, that doesn't line up with what you dudes are saying. Point blank, period. You know what I mean? Terry Smooth Jr. say, TSJ, you in the building too. Terry Smooth, yes, sir. Errol Spence carried the event when he fought El Campo. I'm talking about pay-per-view, Terry, not just an event. I'm talking about pay-per-view. He didn't fight El Campo on pay-per-view. He didn't fight El Campo on pay-per-view. I'm talking about Errol Spence on a pay-per-view card by itself with somebody who has no name. Somebody who has no name at all. You know what I mean? You know, Errol had like back-to-back 300K pay-per-view buys. Absolutely. But with names, Mikey, Sean, Danny, as you just named. He had back-to-back pay-per-view 300K pay-per-view buys, which is still small numbers. You know what I'm saying? If we keep it in 1,000, those are still very small numbers, but he had back-to-back pay-per-views doing 300,000 pay-per-view buys with people that have names. Now we need to see Errol in there. Now, if we would have got this Errol Spence versus Eugenio Ugas on pay-per-view, that would have really told the story of whether or not Errol Spence is even as big of a star as he claims to be, even at this particular point. I think if Errol Spence and Eugenio Ugas, I think if that fight went on pay-per-view, it would do about 200,000 pay-per-view buys, the same as Tank, probably even less. That's my estimation. But he's doing this Manny Pacquiao fight, which is really gonna be good for him, especially if he can perform well. It'll be good for his star power. But if we looking at his star power for what it is right now, if he was to go in there right now with Eugenio Ugas on pay-per-view, it does 200,000, maybe less. And this is why a lot of Terrence Crawford fans have a problem with this whole 60-40, 70-30 nonsense, because Earl just ain't the star that a lot of dudes is making him out to be. You know what I'm saying? Terry Smooth says King. Terry Smooth says Earl versus Ugas would have did 300,000 pay-per-view buys. Okay, Terry, we could bet on that one. I guarantee that don't do 300. If that go on pay-per-view, I guarantee that don't do 300. I guarantee that does about what this Tank fight does, about 200,000 pay-per-view buys, 200, 210, something like that, maybe even less. I wouldn't be surprised if it did by 180 or something like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised if it did that. You know, Terry Smoochie says Pacquiao is gonna give Earl like 500K pay-per-view buys, maybe 700. Yeah, I think so too, man. You're right on point with that one. The Pacquiao Earl Spence is gonna do really good numbers. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna do between 500 and 700. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it hit 8 or even 900,000 pay-per-view buys. It's a serious fight. You know, it's Manny Pacquiao. Earl Spence he's still a star. He's not a pay-per-view star, but he's a star. You know what I'm saying? It does legit numbers. It performs pretty well. You know, it performs pretty well. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, though, the only thing about that fight is it's still not going to be a good barometer as to Errol Spence's actual star power at that point. Now, and we're not going to be able to accurately measure it afterwards, because there's going to be a certain fan base that's going to be attracted to him after this fight with Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? So we won't really know how big of a star he was before exactly, because he would have never had fought in like a Ugas or somebody just off the strength of his own name pre-Pacquiao. Now, post Pacquiao, we can find out how big of a star he is, but that's going to be post Pacquiao. Everybody becomes a bit of a bigger star after they fight Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? Point blank, period. Terry Smooth Jr. says Pac-Man got a whole country behind him, plus Earl had a strong fan base. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's gonna do well, man. That fight's gonna do well. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about the after effects of that fight. I'm thinking of if Earl wins that fight, I'm thinking his star power grows. You know what I'm saying? As for how much it grows, I don't know how much it grows at that particular point, but I'm feeling like his star power grows, so at that point we can't accurately describe exactly what his number is. Y'all hold on one second. Sorry about that, y'all. Sorry about that. I'm back. We here. We here. We here. But yeah, man, hold on. Let's catch up on these comment section. Hold on a second. Oh shit, y'all out here busy. Well, goddamn. Pac-Man got a whole country. Okay. Terrence Moore Jr. says Earl would have 4 belts: WBA, WBC, IBF, and the ring. He does the best pay-per-view numbers next to Pac-Man in the division, so he will be the top dog of the division. Well, Earl Spence will definitely have the most belts. You know what I'm saying? He'll definitely be the guy who has the most belts. I'll give you that. Terry Smooth Jr. says Bud better not duck Spence once he has majority of the belts. Terry, stop it now. Now I gotta stop you right there, Terry. That's when you go too far. Terry, you always go too far, man. You always go too far. G Parker say once EJ smacked Pacquiao unconscious. That's how you feel, G? Unconscious? There will be no disputing his star power. Well, as far as his star power, I'm not really sure the level of which his star power grows after the Pacquiao. I think we can all agree it's definitely gonna grow for sure. As for how much, we just don't know. You know what I'm saying? We just don't know how much it's gonna grow. You know, um, but it will grow. I'm sure that we're gonna see him headline an event, carrying the event after this Pacquiao fight. Like they successfully stripped Ugas, but if this Terrence Crawford fight don't work out, which it may not, depending on the situation. I don't have a whole lot of faith in it. But if this Terrence Crawford fight don't work out, I'm pretty sure Earl Spence's next fight is probably just gonna be well, it could be Keith Thurman. It could be one of those dudes. You know what I'm saying? It could be somebody like that. In which case, that would be a big event as well. But we may see him like in there with like a Ugas or something like that. Maybe the WBA or something. Considering they strip Ugas of that WBA belt, maybe they might let him have first crack at Earl after he get that win over Pacquiao. You know what I mean? In which case, if that goes on pay-per-view, we'll be able to see how big a star Earl is, because he's literally gonna be carrying that event by himself. Terry Smooth Jr. says Earl will headline the Crawford event. You gonna headline the Crawford event. Earl versus Bud, 75-25. Earl got the most of the belts. Hey man, I mean, not at all. I don't agree with that shit at all. But I'm sure he's gonna try that. I'm sure we're gonna see Earl Spence come to the negotiation table with some unrealistic bullshit, or he's gonna say something stupid, or he's just not gonna make a real effort to make the fight happen, and the fight's just not gonna happen. I don't have a whole lot of faith in it, man. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, man, and I'm gonna say this too, man. After that whole after Earl made that statement, he made a statement. He said, I'm going, he said something like, after this Pacquiao fight, I'm gonna cross the street to see what's up with Terrence Crawford. If we can't do nothing, then I'm gonna go ahead and move up. So he already set the precedence. If you think about it, he already set the precedence, or he already has it in his mind that this fight ain't gonna work. If you listen carefully, because he said, I'm gonna cross the street, I'm gonna try to make the Crawford fight happen. If it don't happen, but why wouldn't it happen, Earl? You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to make the fight happen, seriously, why wouldn't it happen? You know what I'm saying? You think Terrence Crawford just gonna say, no, I don't want to fight Earl? If you come to him with a reasonable offer, absolutely not. But Earl already set the precedence that if the fight don't happen, he moving up. So really, his next fight is probably gonna be at 154 pounds, man. I don't see that fight getting happen just based on the energy that he even mentioned the fight with. You know what I mean? Terrence Moore Jr. says, see how Canelo Plant can't come together for a real deal over Plant wanting 10 million. Absolutely. You know, I think it's a whole thing with the PBC, man, right now, man. I ain't gonna hold you. It's something going on over there where they, you know, they maybe they trying to keep everything in house. I don't really know what the situation is, bro. But I don't really give a fuck. At the end of the day, it's all ducking. At the end of the day, I don't care if it's your promoter ducking. I don't care if it's the manager ducking. I don't care if it's you ducking or your wife ducking. Somebody ducking, and it's still a duck. You know what I'm saying? G Parker say Crawford inactive right now while Earl working. Yeah, Crawford he about to fight in September. You know what I'm saying? He about to fight in September, man. You know, it's a lot going on with Crawford, man. It's a lot going on, man. Dude trying to make fights. Ain't nobody trying to fight. He need to just stay active, man. It's the same thing like I tell Demetrius Andrade, to just stay busy, line up all the bums. Crawford need to do something similar to that, man, until he can get out this contract with Top Rank. Even if he stay with Top Rank, man, if dudes don't want to fight, look, man, all you could do is put it out there that you want the fights. If dudes don't want to fight, fuck it. Keep it push. Terry Smooth Jr. says, notice the Canelo. Okay. I think I read that already. They got to fight for all the belts. Yeah, man, they do. They do got to fight for all the belts, man. And it's important to me and you, but you know, I mean, like they just like Terry said, they can't even get Canelo and Plant right. Canelo versus Plant can't even go down. But we talking about trying to make Earl and Terrence Crawford go down. Canelo and Plant supposed to be easy. Canelo is his own promotional entity, just like what a lot of dudes is telling Terrence Crawford to do, to get his own promotional company. Canelo got his own promotional company, and he still can't make this fight with Caleb Plant. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, Caleb Plant, does he really want to fight? I don't know. Or maybe he don't want all them damn provisions Canelo's trying to put on his ass, because I don't blame him. Canelo be trying to get people to, you know what I mean, can't rehydration clauses and all this and all that. You know what I mean? Terry Smooth Jr. says, Canelo, I think, don't want to be undisputed against people with boxing IQs or southpaw boxers. Absolutely, man. And we could do a whole live about Canelo. As a matter of fact, I've done several lives about Canelo. Canelo is not trying to see a certain style, man. He's just not trying to see a certain style, man. And even with all this talk about him fighting Better Beef, which I don't believe he's going to fight Better Beef. But even with all this talk of him fighting Better Beef, you know what I'm saying? And if he was to beat Better Beef, I would give him full credit for it, because it would still be a tough fight for him, moving all the way up in weight and fighting somebody like a Better Beef. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Better Beef is not the style that Canelo fears. The style that Canelo fears is a slick style, similar to a Mayweather, similar to a Lara, similar to somebody who's going to move around the ring like an Andrade. That's the style that Canelo fears. So even if you fight Better Beef, he's still not showing us as boxing fans that he's improved to be able to fight that type of style. You know what I'm saying? But I will give him full credit if he was to somehow beat Archer Better Beef, or even fought Archer Better. If he even fought Better Beef, he would get credit for me from just fighting him. You know what I'm saying? But I don't believe that fight's going to happen, period. You know what I'm saying? Caleb wants 10 million plus weight restrictions and all that. Caleb wants that, or Canelo want that, Terry? G Parker says too much money, too many people involved. Yeah, man. Too many hands in the cookie jar. Terry Smooth says, what's 10 million to being undisputed? Absolutely, man. Hey, man, you got to pay the cost to be the boss. Let their ass know, Terry. You got to pay the cost to be the boss, goddamn. You know what I mean? That's how it work. That's how it work, man. You know, you can't start a business with nothing. You know, you can't start a business with nothing. And these dudes they don't properly handle the undisputed situation correctly. Because the purpose of being undisputed is to let it be known first and foremost that you're the best in the division. Okay, you're the best. Okay, but on top of that, you can demand the most amount of money. You can demand whatever you want because you got all the belts. You can literally pick and choose who you gonna fight because you got all the belts. Everybody comes after. Everybody comes below you. You know what I'm saying? So dudes aren't properly looking to take advantage of what undisputed actually means. You know what I'm saying? But I think Canelo was gonna pay the 10 million. So it must be some other shit. I remember in an interview, Canelo said give him the 10 million, but I think it's probably some other shit. Maybe it's some other little stipulations or little provisions that Canelo trying to put on Caleb Plant that he ain't really fucking with. You know what I'm saying? Weight restrictions and all that. You know, got to fight with 14-ounce gloves or some shit. I don't know, man. I heard them Canelo restrictions be crazy. So, you know what I mean? Terry Smooth says 10 million to be the first Mexican undisputed champion at super middleweight. What's 10 million? Absolutely. But I think he's gonna give him the 10 million though, Terry. I think he offered to give it to him. G Parker says, man, I will gladly take a L for 10 of them things. Me too, Terry. I'll be right there behind you. Matter of fact, I'll skip you in line. I'll take that L for 10 of them things, man. Yeah, man. You can go ahead and sock me in the face a few times for 10 million. I'll take that. Yeah, man, no problem. You want to record it? You can record it too. That's fine. You know what I mean? You know, tis what it is. Tis what it is, man. But back on point, man. Tank Davis, man. Tank Davis, is he a pay-per-view star? So you're a pay-per-view star, man. You know, and really, man, he's not a pay-per-view star. Just like Earl's not a pay-per-view star. Just like the Charlos aren't pay-per-view stars. The only pay-per-view stars right now is Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, Anthony Joshua, and you could probably say Deontay Wilder. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Terry Smooth says Billy got $7 million. Remember? Yeah, Billy Joe got 7 million. Canelo, like I said, I think he's gonna give Billy the 10, man. The 10 ain't no issue. Canelo agreed to the 10. He probably could have asked for 15, man. Honestly, if I was Caleb, I'd have been like, let me get 15 of them things, bro. Because Canelo announced that he's trying to be undisputed. You know what I mean? Caleb Plant is he's a European dude. So, Canelo gonna fight him. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, shit. Give me 15, man. Let your boy cash out over here on these streets. I would have took that 15, man, and I believe your Durham got 2 to 3 million. Your Durham shouldn't have been in the ring in the first place. That dude just lost. So I'm sure he was happy to take that $2 or $3 million, whatever it was, in order to jump in the ring and get smacked around by Canelo. But at least for Caleb Plant is an undefeated champion, man. He ain't got no real rhyme or reason to jump in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, really, at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could keep it 1,000. He could keep doing what he's doing for another 5 years. And that's what a lot of these dudes is doing. They fighting people in the top 5, top 10 of they ranking system. You know what I'm saying? They holding on to the belt. They ain't doing shit with it. If Caleb Plant wanted to do that, he could do that and be just fine. And make $1, $2, $3 million every year. Fighting nobodies. You know what I'm saying? Terry Smooth Jr. says Canelo, Pod Danny Jacobs and paid Danny Jacobs and Kovalev $15 million. He robbed his own blind. Absolutely, man. The zone. I don't know who they got at running the zone, man. But I mean, like, whoever controlling that money, man, y'all need to talk to me, man. Holla at me. I would have been told y'all not to pay Canelo this type of money. You know what I'm saying? To be fighting these dudes, man. The zone had to lose so much money, man, in order for them to understand. Hey, Canelo ain't really fighting nobody. Hey, Triple G ain't really fighting nobody. Why are we paying them like that? Why? Some people got to bump their head the hard way, man. It is what it is. But let me ask y'all, man. Do y'all think the pay-per-view model is dead? Because I was hearing that online, man. I heard that online today, man. Shout out Blood Boxing. I heard that on Blood Boxing channel, man, that the pay-per-view model is dead. You know what I'm saying? I heard that the pay-per-view model is dead, and I don't think the pay-per-view model is dead at all, man. I don't think it's dead at all. But the quality of pay-per-views has taken a nosedive. That's the problem. You know, the quality of pay-per-views has taken a nosedive. It used to be before where pay-per-view would be a platform for the biggest stars to fight each other. You know what I'm saying? A Ali and a Frazier, a Leonard a Hearns, or a Duran a Hearn. You know what I mean? It was the platform for the biggest fights. You know, now it seemed like the model is for the people for PBC where they just throw anything on goddamn pay-per-view. Bro, we literally had Ruiz versus what's the motherfucking name? Chris Ariola on pay-per-view. Like, where they do that at? Like, why would you put some bruh, why would you put some shit like that on pay-per-view, man? That's a HBO late night fight. That's one of them HBO fights, man. That ain't no goddamn pay-per-view fight, you know? And that's the thing. The quality of pay-per-view is dying. You know, people know when they watch the UFC, if it's a pay-per-view event, they know they're gonna be watching the best versus the best on UFC. But when you watch a boxing pay-per-view event, you're gonna be getting a dude that may have a semi-decent big name versus some other guy who nobody's ever heard of, who really ain't nowhere near the best. You know what I'm saying? Terry Smooth Jr. said, G Parker says it's dying due to the bullshit. Yes, sir. 100%. Terry Smooth Jr. says, I think pay-per-view is dead now because of what the standard of what we deem successful. What is the proper price? And what is the right buying numbers? All that. Absolutely. Terry Smooth Jr. says Ruiz, Ariola Ruiz is FS1 free fight. Absolutely, man. FS1. It shouldn't even be on Fox Sports 1. It should be on I wouldn't even want it on primetime Fox, man. It should be like on BT or something, man. That fight was not, dude, that fight wasn't it at all, man. Don't nobody give a fuck about none of them dudes right now at this particular point. You know? Terry Smooth Jr. says Darrell Kyron Davies would have sold more than Ruiz Ariola. Yeah, man. You know, this is what dudes is doing now with boxing. So the fans have no faith in the quality of the pay-per-view. So the sales are declining as a result of that. You know, the sales are declining as a result of that. You know, but what do you expect when you go from Ali Frazier to motherfucking Ruiz versus Ariola? You know, like that's not how you do it at all. It's not how you do it at all. You know. So I mean, when it comes to is Tank a pay-per-view star, man, hell no, bro. Hell no. He ain't no star. Earl ain't no star. You know, Terrence ain't no star. If you ask Bob Arum gonna say the same shit he said about Terrence Crawford. He's saying about all these other dudes as well. Terry Smooth Jr. says they will not make the best fight the best. That's one of the biggest problems in boxing. You know what I'm saying? What are the pay-per-view numbers for Ruiz versus Ariola? Let me look that up, man. What are the pay-per-view numbers for that? That's a good ass question. Ruiz Ariola pay-per-view battle. I'm about to look that up right now, y'all. Hold on. Ruiz Ariola pay-per-view. Okay, so first of all, they were charging $50 per pay-per-view. Okay, and it say from okay, hold on. Pay-per-view numbers. It say they did 125,000 pay-per-view. It did 125,000 pay-per-view buys, man. Ruiz and Ariola. But if you think about it, I ain't number 75,000 less than Tank and Barrios. You know what I mean? What is that telling you? What is that telling you? You know what I mean? What is that telling you? 125,000 pay-per-view buys. Tank did 200,000. You know what I mean? Terry Smooth Jr. says networks and promotional companies all want to get paid behind the boxers, which is why these big fights don't get made. Absolutely. G Parker says Bob porn star, porn star fucking Bud. Terry Smooth Jr. says 125,000 thumbs down. Absolutely, man. Ain't nobody buying that bullshit. But I'm just trying to figure out who the 125,000 people who bought that shit. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who bought that shit? I need to figure out these motherfuckers, man. Whoever bought that fight, bro, I got a motherfucking bridge. I got some dirt for sale, man, that I got for you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing but $100, man. You could buy this pile of dirt, dog. I got some dirt for sale, bro. You can go ahead and pick that up for the low. Whoever bought that goddamn fight. What I'm trying to figure out. Terrence Moore Jr. said, dude, Darrell did more pay-per-view buys. What the fuck, PBC? Absolutely, man. It's sad, bro. It's sad. It's so sad, man. Like, why would you? I don't understand these dudes, bro. Seriously. I don't get these dudes, man. 125,000 pay-per-view buys, 200,000 pay-per-view buys. That's not successful, man. That's not successful at all. Jake Paul did over 1 million pay-per-view buys, bro. And I know people talking about, oh, this might be fake here, that might be fake there. But from what we know, that's what they did, over 1 million pay-per-view buys. And even if you want to say they did half of that, even if you want to say, well, 1 million is some bullshit, they did half of that. That means that they did 500,000 pay-per-view buys, which is still double what Tank did, which is still 3 times what Areola versus Ruiz did, which is still more than Earl Spence, which is still more than Terrence Crawford, which is still more than all these dudes who's supposed to be big fishes and all that, talking about 60, 30, 70, 40, or whatever the fuck they talking about with all this. You know what I mean? Terrence Moore Jr. says, we're gonna have to talk to Al Heyman. Absolutely, man. Al Heyman, man, come to the front of the congregation, man. But I heard Al Heyman got a model where he's able to somehow you know, benefit off of it. You know, he's somehow able to profit off of it. Hey, and if it's a working business model, if he's somehow able to net profit off of this, you know what I'm saying, then I guess it works for him. So, you know, you can't tell a motherfucker nothing that's making a few dollars off of it. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, is it what's good for the sport? No, it's not what's good for the sport, man. It's not. It's not. These pay-per-view events are a depreciating asset, man. They're going down. They're going down in value as time goes by because the quality of these pay-per-view events are lackluster. They're terrible. You know what I'm saying? If you ate at a restaurant, man, and the restaurant that you had, okay, served some good ass food. Every time you went there, you got some good ass food. You got some good ass chicken wings. You got some good ass fries. Everything was on point and great. You fucked it up. You know what I'm saying? And this was a place that you've been going to for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. You've been going there, man. And then all of a sudden they changed cooks, they changed owners. You know what I'm saying? And now all of a sudden the good ass chicken wings that you've been eating for the last 30 years, now they not really all that good, man. Now the chicken wings kind of stale. Now they have frozen. You know, they cold on the inside. You know what I'm saying? How long you gonna continue to eat at that restaurant before you say fuck it? And that's what's gonna happen with this pay-per-view model. If it keeps going in the direction that it's going right now with Al Heyman and the PBC putting up these goofy ass, bullshit ass goddamn fights that nobody want to see, you know what I mean? Did what it is here. Terry Smooth Jr. says, unless PBC got a PPP loan, us fans aren't quite satisfied. Those are facts. Absolutely. G. Parker said, them numbers sound fictitious. It's not 125 people that know either of them. Absolutely. I only know about the 125. My guy Knockout Boxing 86 is in the building. Shout out to you, G. Yes, sir. My guy says 210,000 pay-per-view buys at 75 a pop, 15 million in revenue, considering we live considering we live in a time of illegally streaming fights. That's fights. That's a success, is it not? No, bro, it ain't no success, man. And you know, I know we giving it props for it being a success, but it ain't really no success because you got other pay-per-view events that are doing better numbers. All the UFC pay-per-view events do better numbers than that. You know what I'm saying? Jake Paul does better numbers than that. Fury Wilder did better than that. All these events are doing better than that. You know what I'm saying? And these fights are not doing good numbers because the quality of these fights are just not up to par. You know, even though we know as boxing fans, Barrios and Tank, that was a good fight, but don't nobody really know Barrios. And the thing about it is, you know, Tank should be down there. One Tank left 130 and 135 without trying to unify them belts and fight the other big name opponents or the other more proven opponents at those weight divisions. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? G Parker say, boxing, what it do? We say, Naga boxing, what it do? You back from Texas. Yes, sir. Yeah, Naga, I seen you was on a vacation over there, Knockout. You back? You done came back home, bro? I think you supposed to be going live tomorrow too, Knockout, man. Hey, y'all make sure y'all everybody in the building, y'all check out my boy Knockout Boxing 86. Gonna be going live for the first time tomorrow, man. So y'all make sure y'all pull up on my guy 7:30 and show my guy some love, man. You know what I mean? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, man, bro, the quality of these pay-per-views, man, are just not up to par, bro. Like, you know, and I was saying it earlier, man. When it come to Tank, man, I like Tank, man. I deal with Tank. I think Tank is, Tank is a good dude. I like his fight. I like his skill set. He got good power. The dude is entertaining. You know, there's not a whole lot to not like about Tank. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I think this model that the PBC is doing right now, where they pushing all their fighters, they're pushing all of they're branding all their fighters as these huge pay-per-view stars. You know what I'm saying? Like huge pay-per-view stars, but the numbers aren't producing. You know what I'm saying? The numbers aren't producing, and it's like, as a promoter, that's part of your job. Like you want to you want to put your fighter or your client in the best light that you could possibly put them in. Like that's what you want. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, at what point is it just lying to the public? You know what I'm saying? At what point is it just straight lying rather than just trying to upsell? At what point do we draw that line? You know what I mean? I got Boxing 86 say, if Tank and them want to do these type of won't do these type of numbers, here's a list of his opponents, or what his opponents should be. Knockout got Regis Prograde, Atella, 135, Haney and Loma, Valdez. All those names have no fight and will be available for October. Yeah, man, I would like all those fights, bro. All those fights would be great. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that they do huge pay-per-view numbers. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that they do huge. I would buy the pay-per-view. I don't know that any of those do huge pay-per-view numbers, but those are all good fights, man. Those are all really, really good fights, man. But and we was talking about this earlier too, Knockout. Like, we come the days paper the quality of pay-per-view has just diminished. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ali Frazier was on pay-per-view. Leonard Hearns was on pay-per-view. We had these big mega fights that were on pay-per-view. And then we go from that to getting Areola versus Ruiz on pay-per-view. And it's like, nah, bro. It's like, nah. Regis, Prograde, Tank, and Regis would be a great fight. But should that be on pay-per-view? No. That should probably be on a premium network. Maybe Showtime or something like that. Ain't gonna be a whole lot of people that's gonna pay for Regis or Teller or any of these dudes like that. I mean, people mildly know them, but these dudes haven't made enough of a name for themselves to be on pay-per-view. Just, it is what it is, you know. But I would like all them fights, man. I would like all them fights for Tank. I think Tank. I think Tank can beat Regis. I don't rate Regis that high. I don't rate Regis that high. That Josh Teller fight is a tough fight for him, though, man. Josh Teller might beat Tank, man. I ain't gonna hold. If he can't stop Teller, Tank probably got about a puncher's chance in there, but versus Josh Teller. Josh Teller kind of impressed me in there with Jose Ramirez, man, just being able to adapt and do different things here and there. Haney also gives Tank a tough fight, but he can catch Haney slipping. So that'll be a tough fight for both of them, man. Haney and Tank. Loma, I think he could beat Loma. I don't know why he didn't want to fight Loma. I think he could beat Loma. I think he hurts Loma with something. But I also think that it could be a potentially tough fight for him because Loma's usually good with people who don't have a reach advantage over him. He's usually good when he's bigger than you and he can kind of get away and use angles and things like that. He's usually a little more dangerous. Valdez, he definitely beats the shit out of Valdez, that's for sure. You know what I'm saying? They also need to stack the cards too, bro. What are they doing with Wilder Fury card? Is it lit? Hey, man, that's a good ass question for right there, man. That's a great question. Is it lit? I don't know. I don't know who they got on that card, man. And that's a good ass point because it used to be when you used to watch these cards, man, on pay per view, they would have a stacked ass card for you to watch. So even if you ain't rock with the paper with the main event, you at least knew you was gonna get some fire on that undercard. You know what I mean? At least you know you was gonna get some fire on that undercard, so you could justify paying the little bread for the main event because that undercard was gonna be pressing. You know what I'm saying? But I don't even know, man. I don't know who on that undercard, man. And the fight right around the corner, man. So, the promoters ain't doing that good of a job, honestly, because these undercards and all that, man, that's supposed to be announced months before the actual fight. You know what I'm saying? G Parker said the undercard usually suck on pay-per-view as well. Yeah, man. Yeah. Knockout Boxing 86 say Teller versus Haney, the toughest fights. Teller versus Haney, the toughest fight. Whoever controls the distance in those wins, in those fights wins. The closer they fight, the more I favor Tank. Yeah. Yeah. The thing about Teller gives up his height. So I would probably he gives up his height a lot, what I mean? But he also has some dimensions to him as well, you know, where he can kind of switch it up and give different looks. Haney he has the ability to give different looks, but he definitely doesn't give up his height as much as Josh Taylor. So it'll be a lot tougher for Tank to get on the inside versus Devin Haney. However, to me, if Haney got caught with something, if he made one or two mistakes in that fight, just one or two mistakes in passing, he can easily just get KO'd and stopped. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to Taylor, I think Taylor be able to take Tank's punches a little better. But he probably gonna get caught a lot more than somebody like a Devin Haney. He probably gonna get caught a lot more, and both really tough fights though, man. Both really, really, really tough fights, man. Tank closes the distance better on Taylor, but Haney, man, because he's a smaller guy coming up in weight, and we seen him get touched up and hurt in his last fight. If he's in there with Tank, it could end real badly, man. With Tank just off of one or two little mistakes, you know. But I also see Devin Haney being able to come in there and box the perfect fight against Tank and beat him, on points. So that's also a possibility too. Knockout Boxing 86 also says the Fury Wilder card is lit, bro. Oh yeah, okay. Let's hear about it. They got Sanchez versus Ajaba. Oh, okay. All right, yeah, that's gonna be a good one. They got Linus versus Kawaki. Okay, I don't know the man name. Don't laugh at me. And they got Jared Anderson. Okay, it should be pretty good, man. That's gonna be lit. Yeah, that's gonna be lit, man. I don't know that I would buy it because of a jobber. I fuck with the main event. I don't know if I would buy it because of him. To me, the idea, because it used to be like back in the day, if you had a Wilder Fury, you would have they probably would have put like if Earl and Ugas was fighting, they would have put Earl and Ugas on the undercard. Like that's an undercard fight right there. That's perfect right there. Like that's an undercard fight. That ain't no main event fight. That's either an undercard of a big fight or that's a fight that could be on a premium network, not a pay-per-view fight. You know what I'm saying? But those are some good fights, though. You know what I'm saying? But certainly not the type of undercard. They just trying to stretch the money too thin. Instead of trying to give fans they value for their money, you know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to focus on the quality of the product that they presenting, they trying to dilute the product down and then stretch it out. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like if you tasted a watered down goddamn Coca-Cola, a Coca-Cola where they use half the ingredients that they use for a regular Coke and then just added water to supplement the difference in liquid and then gave the shit to you. You know what I mean? You got a Coca-Cola, but you got some watered down shit. You know what I mean? You know. Uh, let's see what we got here. He said Tank versus Haney is the best fight. Yeah, Tank and Haney is a good one, man. That's a good one, G. Yeah, man. I pay money for that, man. I put some money up on that one. I pay for that pay-per-view right there. Um, we support everything in Texas in the ring. I see that. You ain't got to tell me that, G. I see that. The level of support the Charlos get, no matter what they say, you know what I'm saying? The support Earl Spence get. I see y'all Texas boys, y'all stand together, man. I see that what it is. I got about to say facts at G Parker. Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and end this off, man. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this thing down, man. Hey, hold on before I do that, man. Let me see anybody. I'm gonna get anybody about 5 minutes. If anybody want to hop on here, we can keep the conversation going a little bit more. But if not, I'm gonna shut this motherfucker down. You know what I'm saying? My daughter over here telling me her teeth coming out. You know what I mean? So I'm about to go check on her. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Let me put this link. I'm gonna drop this link real quick. Anybody want to hop on, they can hop on. If not, I'm gonna shut it down, bro. Section link. I'm gonna stay on here another 5 minutes. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But shit, man. But on another note, man, I'm excited about this Wilder Fury 3 fight, man. I think that's gonna be a real exciting fight for me in general, man. Wilder Fury 3, man. I'm really excited about that one, man. There's just so much on the line in that fight, man. There's just so much drama, so much everything on the line for it. A lot of people rooting against Wilder. You know, a lot of people rooting against Wilder in that fight, man. A lot of things against Fury, man. I think no matter what the score is, though, it's gonna make for a spectacle, a very interesting spectacle. G Parker say, "Oh, you want daddy duty?" Yes, sir, man. Yeah, man. You know it don't stop, can't stop, won't stop. You know what I mean? You know how that go. She ran up in here to tell me her tooth coming out. I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? I am live and everything, but all right, your tooth coming out. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Yeah, man. But yeah, man, like I was saying, man, Wilder Fury, man, that's gonna be a good one. I'm looking forward to that one, man. It's a lot of drama, a lot at stake in that fight. Um, I think at the end of it, it's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna have to eat their words, man. When it's all said and done, when it comes to that fight. Um, are they gonna actually eat their words? I don't know, because we see all this Wilder hate and everything like that. Um, but I think that's a real exciting fight, man. Sure. But yeah, man, I'm off topic. But let me get back a little bit real quick, man, to end off with. And I'm still on the clock, man. So if anybody trying to hop on, man, I got 5 for you. Or just drop it in the comment section. You trying to hop on so I can stay on a little bit longer and wait for you. But to end off with, man, I think at the end of the day, man, Tank Davis, Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford, these dudes who are on Jamal Charlo, these dudes on PBC, man, who are kind of up and coming. At the end of the day, man, these dudes aren't pay-per-view stars, man. They're just not at that point yet. They for the most part at the beginning parts of their career. And they kind of working their way into that spot. But they're not quite there yet, And I get what PBC is trying to do as far as promoting them that way, but I feel like it's very disingenuous to go to the extent that they go with the promotional tactics they use in order to present these fighters in a light that they just not in right now. And then you have fighters actually drinking the Kool-Aid, like Earl Spence, and kind of believing that, they bigger than what they actually are. And because of that, we got a lot of fights not getting done, man. Even Keith Thurman, he going to Bob Arum talking about he wants $6-7 million for a Crawford fight. Sean Porter talking about he won $5-6 million for a Crawford fight. It's like, man, y'all not there yet to be coming out here making these type of demands like that, man. Y'all just ain't there yet. You know, y'all might not ever be there. It is what it is. You just ain't there. You know what I'm saying? So like all the demands and all this stuff, man, y'all just gotta fall back with all of it. You know, y'all gotta fall back with all of it, man. And I feel like I feel like if we can get a lot of these fighters in the right mind state, like, hey man, you're not a big star. You kind of you a star, but you're not a big star. You're a good dude, but you ain't that good. I feel like the sooner we can get people in that mind space is the sooner we can get some of these fights done. Because the fighters make fights, promoters promote fights. That's my ideology when it comes to that sort of thing. Fighters make fights, promoters promote fights. But if the fighters think that they too big, if they think they too important, if they think they worth so much money or they need at least this amount of money in order to get fights done, then we're not gonna get fights done, man. So a lot of these fighters need to be brought down to earth, man. And it is what it is, man. You ain't all that, you know. You ain't all that. G Parker say, I want to go with Wilder, but I think Fury got it. Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. It's gonna be a good one, man. We're gonna do a whole live about that one, man. I'm gonna come back and do a whole live, man. Not today, but another day. We're gonna do that one, man, because I want to talk about that one. But yeah, man, I want to thank everybody for joining me out here today, man. Rocking with your boy. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, man. Let everybody out here know we talk boxing, man. You know what I'm saying? I want to thank all the people who was turning up for me in the comment section. G Parker, shout out to you, my guy. Shout out to my guy Knockout Boxing 86 TV for dropping through. You know what I mean, and showing some support. Shout out to Terry Smoot Jr. In the motherfucking building, man. For rocking with your boy, man. I appreciate all y'all for coming through, man. But I'm gonna holler at y'all next time. Peace.